Hello and welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
With Justin and Jason, I'm Josh Taylor, and we are the San Diego Sports Junkies. We are brought to you by SK Digital Imaging. Our buddy Sean K has your printings covered. 858-408-0732. SDforlife.net, another sponsor. For all your San Diego diehard gear, visit SDforlife.net, and our buddy Alex has got you covered. You guys, this week, first of all, coming off the bye week, kind of nice to... I think it comes at a good time to get the guys healthy, first and foremost. Now the Chargers head in to Washington to face RG3 and the 2-5 Redskins.
Yeah, I think the bye couldn't have came at a better time. We talked about that a little bit last week. Guys being nicked up, from Donald Butler to Jared Johnson. Hopefully some of these guys can return this week into the lineup, and we can reassure that defense a little bit. We don't have to play so many rookies. As far as playing RG3, hopefully we get the bad and hobbled RG3 coming off a tough game against Denver, right?
I am so happy that RG3 didn't get knocked out of the game completely because I would much rather face him.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me is the Chargers defense, which has played spectacular the last couple of weeks, seems to have a little bit of trouble with a mobile quarterback. So that makes me a little bit concerned. Our secondary has been really stepping it up. I'm hoping that he's not going to be able to throw the ball against us. I'm just worried about him running and their running game.
Right.
But all things considered, RG3 isn't RG3 of last year. He's not to that. He hasn't shown that yet.
Right now he's RG knee.
Right. And with his left knee getting taken out last week against Denver, they said he could have come back into the game, but because of the score being, blown out, they left him on the sidelines. Whether that was true or not, who knows? But
I don't think your game plan changes if you're John Pagano. You still act like he's the RG3 of last year, his rookie campaign, where he went off on everybody. So you really got to treat it as a game where he's going to be a threat on the field. They can run the football with Alfred Morris. He's a beast and a load. They have some dynamic players on it. Pierre Garçon.
Garçon makes me a little bit concerned. I think he's their best wide receiver.
And who's going to cover him, right? So Sharice Wright, maybe. So
who do you think their best wide receiver is?
So Jordan Reed. A lot of people, you might not know of him, but thanks to fantasy football, I sure as hell do.
I was going to say one of the better. Yeah.
Jordan Reed is a big time playmaker. The last 2 games alone, he's had 17 receptions for 224 yards and a touchdown. This guy has become RG3's favorite go-to guy. Along with, Pierre Garçon, we really need to keep our eyes on Jordan Reed. This guy has extreme talent. He's like a Gates back in the day. I mean, the guy can run. He's got good hands. He's a big body. I think he's going to be somebody that we're really going to have to keep an eye on.
I wonder with a lot of when you look at the stats. I know that fantasy football is built on stats. I wonder how many of the stats that the Redskins have racked up are because of garbage time, because they've had a lot of garbage time yards.
Where they're losing.
They've had a lot of games where they fell behind big time at the beginning.
And then the other team's playing prevent.
Yeah, and they started coming back. So I haven't watched a whole lot of Redskins games, just what I see on Red Zone when they come up. Most of the time when they come up on Red Zone, it's them on defense giving up points.
Looking back, as far as tight ends are concerned, being worried about a tight end isn't my main focus this week going into this game. Looking back at Owen Daniels for the Texans, Jason Witten for the Cowboys, certain guy, I think we've held some pretty good names in check this year.
I agree.
For the most part, I wouldn't say Oakland beat us with any of their tight ends. Just looking around at some of the games
that Oakland game was such a throwaway game.
Right, no, I shouldn't have mentioned that one. Yeah. But, as far as tight ends go, I think we've done a pretty good job defensively.
The difference with Jordan Reed is he's got the speed that they put him out in the wideout position quite often.
Yeah.
And he runs...
Well, he can make it like a gazelle, yeah.
Yeah, he just runs those go patterns, and RG3 has no problem throwing the ball to him, and he goes up and brings it down, similar to Vincent Jackson, from the video that I've seen of him. So I think he's somebody that we need to keep an eye on. Alfred Morris is another one. Alfred Morris has always been, one of the top 10 running backs,
right?
Since he's come on the scene. And that's one thing that I think the Redskins do well. They're 6th in rushing in the NFL, so that's one thing that they really strive on, not only offensively but defensively.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a good test. This is going to give us a real opportunity to see if our defense really has improved, because they were absolutely abysmal the first few weeks. Last couple weeks, they've played much better. We talked about the how many quarters now without giving up a touchdown is 11.
That's a lot.
That's pretty. I don't care.
And
who
you get
you're
a
playing.
week off.
Yeah,
that's crucial.
This is a real big game let's see them continue the success. Let's not fall back to week 2 to the team that gave up all those points against the Eagles, who can't score against anybody.
Right,
now,
you're right. And that's the thing. I think for Mike Shanahan, he's gonna come out and try to establish a run against the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Knowing that RG3 is not 100%, he's not going to be mobile as usual. I think he's really going to try to set a tone. Now, if the Chargers can shut them down in the first half and limit those yards, I really think if we can get out to that early lead, stop the run, we're going to be fine in the second half. And not to put it on cruise control, but be better situation for the first.
And I think the first quarter is very crucial for the Chargers. The Redskins have not led in the first quarter in any of their games this season.
That's a good thing.
Starting strong, we've been really good at taking that first drive down for points, and we just need to continue to build on that.
Obviously, not their strong point. So.
Right, and as far as our Achilles has been our secondary.
Right,
but against the run, we're actually a top 10 defense against the run. So. If we can continue that and shut down Adam Morrison, it's going to put more in the hands of RG3. What I saw from him against the Denver game, at least, I wasn't too impressed with his throwing ability. I still think that knee is bothering him a little.
I'll be honest with you. His knee or not, I've always thought that he's a little bit overrated. He had a pretty decent year
campaign
last year. I just thought that I thought he was overrated, and even if he didn't have the knee injury, I don't think that I think that his career was not going to be going up from last year. I think that he peaked his.
He had so much hype out of Baylor. Everybody thought he was going to be a superstar. So for me, it's not so much his play. He did play well his rookie year, but it wasn't over the top. If you really look at the stats, they're not eye-popping.
Right.
But it was okay for rookie season.
Right.
So.
The thing is, the way and the style that he played, I just think that defenses are going to start to figure him out.
Right.
And I think that he had the advantage because nobody had played against him. People are
now
starting to figure him out. Right.
Yeah,
people know, and the dynamic things, you look back at early Michael Vick. Well, you look back at Michael Vick anyways, how he was never really a great quarterback.
Right.
He just made an outstanding play here or there, and he played just well enough to make you almost win.
Right, and that's one of the things. So this year we've played a few mobile quarterbacks, and we're already prepared for that type of thing.
Yeah, they need to.
They really are.
Stop them.
They really are. So I'm not overly worried about our defense playing a mobile quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
The Redskins' defense has given up 32.7 points per game.
Oh, that's great.
So, the Chargers are fourth on offense. That is, I believe, our key to the game. As much as Jason says we don't need to worry about our offense, but I think our offense is going to be the key to this victory, is putting up points and making it very difficult for them to come back, because I don't think they're built right now for that, because their defense can't stop anybody through the air. So
minus the shit Raiders game, the Chargers have gotten out to a fantastic start every single game.
Right.
So if they can keep that going, I think that's the way we're going to win that game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They've been doing it all year. It's not like they've coming out fast, starting strong against the Texans. I mean, really quick scores. It's not like we used to be in the North Turner era where you kind of hum-ho through the first half,
sleepwalk through
and then you kick it in high gear later when you're down already.
Frantically come back.
Right, so I think we're in good shape there.
Well, and the Chargers on offense, they just need to keep the ball rolling. Number 4th in the NFL in total offense. Rivers is now number 1 in the NFL in completion percentage. Matthews coming off of back-to-back 100-yard games.
Crazy.
I think Matthews is going to be a huge key to this game as well.
He's going to be a key to the rest of the season.
Well, the running game in general this week, whether it's Danny, whether they get 100 yards cumulative or just by himself, will be fine. As long as we get those 100 yards, I think we have a better chance of winning.
Well, it opens up play action, and that's when we've known Phillip Rivers in the past to be extremely dangerous, is when he can throw the ball downfield. I don't know about you guys, and some people have been writing articles about it saying, is Vincent Brown built for this offense? Because he's a go down the field, go up for the ball, and they haven't been airing it out like they used to So they're starting to wonder if Vincent Brown is really built for this style of offense, the dink and dunk type situations.
Well, like we had talked about before, I know that Justin was expecting a little bit more of a dynamic season out of Vincent Brown. We haven't seen the big, his longest play so far. I'm cheating right now. I have his stats in front of me.
That's what you're supposed to do.
51 yards, but he's still tied for the lead.
Yeah.
Tied for the lead in receptions for wide receivers.
Right.
He's tied for third on the team.
Still getting targets.
Yeah, he's not getting the big plays, but if you look at our offense, Rivers is taking what people give him. It's not like, you call it dink and dunk, it's not dink and dunk.
No.
This is what they're giving us. This is what we're going to take.
Yes.
Before it was go long or dink it off to the tight end. Go long or dump it off to the running back. That's not what he's doing this year.
That's what I wanted to. You brought up a good point because last year it was Norv Turner's offense.
Yes.
Now it's Wisenhunt's offense.
Well, yeah, no, it was a play action and go deep, and I think people got the misconception of Vincent Brown because he made a few big plays prior. And go, he's a big play receiver, and now you go, well, he's not making as many plays. What's wrong with him? Nothing's wrong with him.
Right.
They're not asking him to do the home run hitter long bomb anymore. So people need to put that to rest.
I've been
He's
so
playing great.
impressed with how physical he's playing. How when he's covered,
he's going to have a game where he's the star.
Yeah.
There will be a breakout game for him. Keenan Allen's getting all the targets right now because that's who's open.
Yeah, who would you cover if you're on the defense? You're going to cover Vincent Brown over Keenan Allen.
Exactly, and Keenan Allen's been doing such a great job of finding the open room in the middle of the zone, getting there for Phillip and making a big target for himself.
He's not making mistakes.
No, he's not fumbling the ball. He's coming in and done a great job.
We don't have any of them on the sideline screaming that they're not getting the ball enough.
Des Bryant.
Wow, that was ridiculous, by the way. So defense has not given up a touchdown in 11 quarters and counting. They are now a top 10 defense in the NFL. Coming off this bye week, we're a little bit healthier. We got Jarrett Johnson back.
We're not sure
defensively.
Still not sure if Donald Butler is coming back yet.
Right. At this point, he has not practiced. Right. And honestly, I would rather him sit out this week and have him for Denver.
Yes.
If he's questionable, just sit him out this week and keep him for Denver because that's going to be a big matchup. Obviously I don't want to look past the Redskins game.
Right.
But with Jarrett Johnson coming back and the way the guys have stepped in, I think the defense right now is okay and good enough to beat these Redskins.
Groin's a tough injury, and we want him to come all the way back. He's such a key to our defense. And the last couple of games that he's tried to play, he really hasn't been as effective as we're used to.
Right.
Let's get somebody else in there until he is ready to come back, and then,
It seemed like they let on more than they were saying too much about Donnie Butler. This has been since the Titans game.
Yes.
And you just had 2 weeks, and it's like, okay, this is what we said last week. You go, well, we'll get him ready for the Washington game. 2 weeks off is going to heal it up. And now we're going, uh-oh. It must have been really bad.
Yeah.
So they didn't say that. They just said it was a minor growing injury.
Well, that's one thing about this coaching staff is they're a little bit vague
they're
about...
a little Belichick-ish.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. We talked about that before. I don't know why people are crying about that.
No, I don't.
If I'm the head coach, I'm not saying nothing I don't have to say.
No, I'm just... They were kind of letting on a little bit there because if it's been 4 weeks now... telling you something, it was pretty serious. So definitely got to get him healthy. I wouldn't want him to play this week either.
Absolutely. As far as Chargers getting healthier over the bye, King Dunlap is back in action. He's practicing. Jarrett Johnson is back on the practice field. Chad Reinhart is back on the practice field in a limited role. Donald Butler, Mike Remmers, and Eddie Royal still not practicing.
Royal. I'll be interested to see if he plays. Is he going to play?
Yeah, there's everybody that I've seen on the news.
He's been such a big part of our offense this year, and he doesn't need to score 3 touchdowns a week.
Well,
he's been making some big third down catches this year.
Yeah, and around the edge type stuff too. On the outer, towards
dynamic catches too,
towards the sidelines.
Yeah,
making great plays. But he didn't practice all week last year.
Right.
Last week. He came right in the game. Had 4 or 5 catches for a touchdown, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm really hoping this bye week helped King Dunlap. I know they've been really concerned with his concussions, and hopefully with two weeks off and really no action, hopefully that has given time for the swelling to go down and
I'll tell you
everything to be okay because that could be a concern.
He comes in and gets a third concussion. He's probably done for the year. I don't think they'll let him play.
Well, he said he's been having a great week. He finally was able to say...
He recovered faster from this one, they said.
Yeah, he was finally able to say his alphabet backwards, so that was cool. I mean, it's very encouraging, so... Anytime you can say the alphabet backwards, you're good.
Yeah, you pass every single sobriety test out there.
I have 0 concussions. I can't say the alphabet backwards.
There you go.
Yeah. So me and Justin were kind of talking about this before the show, Jason. Rumor has it right now, Nnamdi Asomugha is rumored to be released from the 49ers when Eric Wright returns. Would you guys put a claim on him for depth purposes? I'm curious to hear.
Well, you go ahead.
Response.
I have. It's really funny because every time I watch the 49ers play and I watch him get in the game and it seems like he's getting burned or giving up a pass, I always text a buddy of mine and say, do you remember when people thought Nnamdi Asomugha was the best cornerback in football?
$100 million corner.
Always text him that. With that being said, if they release him, absolutely pick him up.
Yeah.
Pick him up.
Depth purposes.
Yeah. We need, it's a different players, especially quarterbacks, play different in different systems. Look in Tampa Bay, what's happening with Revis right now. Everybody's talking about how he's not having a good year because they don't play the style of defense that is good for him.
3% zone. What is Schiano doing?
Exactly.
Right? He's one of the best cover corners in football.
So maybe the Chargers defense would fit Nnamdi Asomugha. We've seen our corners. Wright's played better. Cox has played better.
Yeah.
Johnny Patrick actually has been playing
surprisingly okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Not terrible. You know?
And you can include them in the bigger packages. When it's that 3rd and long situation, you got your nickel and dime packages out there. You can throw them out there as that 3rd and 4th defensive back.
It's like I told you before today. I'm talking about, I said the same thing he did. I go, he doesn't give me any wow effect anymore. He wouldn't bounce around to teams if he was any good. Decent enough to be on the field.
Right.
He is good for depth, though, right? We've been picking up scrap heap all year.
Let me tell you why everybody thought he was so great. Because when he was on the Raiders, you had Stanford route on the other side. And if I'm a quarterback, I'm throwing to Stanford route side every time. And that's why Nnamdi Asomugha didn't give up any passes, because you only had to be kind of okay to be the best cornerback on that team.
Yeah, they didn't. He didn't get too much attention drawn to him.
Right. So I would certainly like the Chargers to pick him up if he did get released, just because see if he's a good fit.
Right. No, I think depth wise you got to think about it.
I wouldn't go doing any trading for him or anything.
No, you saw how exciting the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So this is our 3rd or 4th stretch to the East Coast this season.
This will be our 3rd already, because we went to Tennessee, Philly, and now
Tennessee's not East Coast. So 2nd.
Okay, sorry. Well, it's almost.
No, this will be our 3rd. Yeah, this will be our 3rd. We played 2 already, and then this will be our 3rd, and this will be our 4th 10:00 game, I think, though.
Yes. Which we've done fairly well already. So
yeah.
That's been a vast improvement over the Norv Turner teams. It seemed like those.
He has a new
every
schedule.
time we go over there, it seemed like the East Coast were almost impossible for us to win.
I don't think it's just Norv Turner. I think the Chargers have just. In the past, for some reason, it's been an issue. Something that the new coaching staff is doing so far. 3 games does not does not. Let's see. I feel more confident about it than I used to in the past.
I think a lot has to do with the scheduling of Mike McCoy. They leave on Friday afternoons now for East Coast games. North Turner used to leave early Saturday mornings.
Yeah, but the thing is, for some teams they do that and it works. It just depends.
It's not like we never won a game with North Turner, but I think this new system and this might sound small, but every practice every day at Chargers Park is. Starts at 7:30.
I think that's big. Yeah,
that means people got to get there around 6:30, get going. So you get your time clock different. So maybe that has some things to do with it. But
we got a tweet from Rapid Kid 360.
What up?
Can the Chargers defense hold the Redskins out of the end zone?
Well,
they can possibly.
Had you asked me that against the Colts, I would have said absolutely not, and they did.
Right.
Or they did in the second half anyways. And then if you asked me that against the Jags, I would have still thought the Jags at least are going to get in there once.
The Chargers have the capability of doing it. They do.
Absolutely. They've shown that they had. Now, if I had to put $50 on it, I'd say no. The Redskins are going to get into the end zone.
Right. Now, if they don't, what are we talking about next week?
Oh, my God.
I'm serious. If you go another 4 quarters without giving up a touchdown, you give up all field goals, and that goal line defense comes up big this weekend, which will win you the game, by the way. If you don't allow a touchdown, you're going to win ball games.
Absolutely.
So we'll put that to bed, but that's all we're going to be talking about next week.
Oh, yeah, no, we'll do 2 shows on the defense.
Yeah. And a round table, the round table.
Well, I'll tell you what, we spent the first few weeks ripping them, and they deserved it, but boy, they've
come up big.
Yeah.
Coming together.
Yeah.
It's coming together nicely.
Well, I know stats doesn't show the big picture, but when you have a top 10 offense and defense, it really shows the direction the Chargers are headed.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I know the power rankings, that was another thing not to go over, but we've moved up that pretty steadily too.
Yeah.
We're now, I think, 10th.
Yeah, I hate when we start to get recognition. ESPN is starting to...
Well,
it's funny
Phillip Rivers is starting to get a lot of attention.
Yes, the thing is, when we don't get any just due, I complain and I bitch and I moan that nobody cares. Nobody gives us any love.
It's that happy medium as a fan, especially a Charger fan.
Yeah, and now that they're giving us love, I say, shut up, go away, I don't want it. I want to stay under the radar, but, if you're good,
There was one thing I wanted to bring up real quick, and it was, for me, like, you have to go 4-0 against the NFC East this year.
Yeah. Because
all the other games are so important. As you're going into conference games, not even just division games against the AFC, these 4 wins would be huge to compile these 4. Beat the Giants later in the year, get this win on the road would be huge. For me, you got to go 4-0 in that division, and then take care of your AFC conference games, and then worry about splitting with the other 2, other 3 teams, whatever you got to do.
Right.
But it's huge to get that 4-0 against a different conference, because I know it's not the AFC, it might not seem big, but those 4 wins can really mean a lot going into the playoff race.
Right.
Well, and to elaborate on that, we haven't played very well coming off the bye in past, and to get this win would be huge in keeping pace, with our division. Not to say we're going to win our division or even be second in our division, but we need to keep pace to keep the playoff hopes and dreams alive.
I felt better. The Denver, for some reason, has really started to come way back to earth.
A little bit, yeah. They even struggled against Washington a little bit last week. They really did.
They were
until they got going. So
the Chiefs just to me look like they're doing it with smoke and mirrors every single week. I don't know.
4 weeks in a row they played a backup quarterback.
It seems like everything is just the stars are just aligning for them, but when it's time to actually play a good team, I don't see them being able to win.
I don't either. I mean, I can see them winning because they have a good defense and a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. I can see them winning, but I don't see them beating good teams, and especially if they get down by like 10 points.
They have a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over.
Is he built for coming back,
I like
though?
Alex Smith. I really like him, but
he's not built for coming back.
Has not been asked to do anything.
Exactly.
And so he hasn't had to turn.
He hasn't. I don't think he's thrown 30 times like once all season or something. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So if you're throwing 20 to 25 balls in a game, you're not asking him to do much.
Right.
17 for 25.
For them, a punt is a win because their defense got back on the field.
Of course, especially at Arrowhead. Too.
Yeah.
So we're roughly, midway through the season?
Roughly, yeah.
So offensive, defensive, and coaching staff, what are your grades? Start with you, Justin.
Offense and defense?
Offensive, defensive, and our coaching staff.
Well, the coaching staff for sure I would give an A to already, just because it's so much different. I mean, there's been some bad calls and bad decisions by Mike McCoy this season. It's apparent. But the way he's handled the team, preparation, it just looks like a new football team. I think an A is for them. Offensively, I have to give them another A. They've been playing lights out. Phillips been playing out of his mind. It looks like a revamped offense with the same guys and less line than you had last year. So for me, that's an A. Defensively, I would give them an A for the last few weeks because they played so good. Right. But overall, I'd have to see right in the middle about a C because the first 5 weeks was garbage. It was absolute garbage.
Right.
So coming back to earth, they're starting to play better. You're seeing kind of what we thought we had at the beginning of the year, right?
Exactly.
Guys that we were
excited about.
exactly.
Absolutely.
We were so much more on the defense. So yeah, that would be my grades.
I'd go coaching staff. I'm going to go B+, not because of the calls are the calls. If the calls work, then that's a great call.
Right.
If the call doesn't work, it's a terrible call. B+ is because he threw that challenge flag when he shouldn't have.
That's what I was referring to.
That was a boneheaded play, and he should have known
even for
better.
a rookie coach.
Yeah, he should have known better. Offense is absolutely an A+. Besides how every year you get to throw one. A lot of teachers let you throw one test out. Well, the Raiders is that test.
I agree.
You throw that test out,
and
the offense has been absolutely fabulous.
Better than we expected.
And I'm gonna go. I'm I'm going to go D plus for the defense, and the reason why I'm going D plus is because the first few weeks they played so poorly.
They were terrible.
And they have played A's on their last two tests, but they have not been able to bring that grade back up.
Right.
So I'm going D plus, but that one is on a sharp rise.
Very similar.
For me, guys, I'm actually going with a B plus for our coaching staff, and the only reason, and I think it touches on that defense, is not playing up to their potential for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Offensively, we've been great. Obviously, special teams is there's been a couple blunders there. Granted, a lot of that has to come down to the players on the field, but I'm going to say a B plus for our coaching staff. I totally agree with both of you guys. I think it's an easy A for the offense. And how could you argue that? I mean, Phillip Rivers is on fire. He's in the MVP candidate.
More with less this year.
Danny Woodhead is having a big year. Keenan Allen's having a big year. Gates is having a good year. Ryan Matthews has had a good couple games. So I definitely agree with an A there. As far as the defense, I'm kind of in between both of you guys. I got them at a C minus. And some of that I'm with Jason is at a D, but because the last 2 games they played really well, they're starting to creep up in my book. If they can keep this, I can easily see them moving into the B category by the end of the year.
The other thing about the defense is they're not creating the turnovers yet. They still aren't creating the turnovers yet.
Turnover ratio.
You took the next take the next thought out of my head. The fact that we're just not creating. We're -6 in the turnover ratio right now, and that needs to improve if we're going to beat the good teams.
Well, if that defense shows up that was in Jacksonville against the Redskins, I'll tell you what, RG3 is going to have a bad day, dude.
We might be able to turn that -6 into a -1.
You're right.
Right? So, guys, this is the San Diego Sports Junkies. This is our preview into the Washington Redskins with Jason and Justin. This is Josh. We're a show for fans.
By the fans.
Guys, we are out.
How close did we get there? I couldn't see. I kept looking. I couldn't see.